12-string guitar, 12-string simulator. Can we do better?
Yes, we can. Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Welcome to the show. Please subscribe, it helps us out. And go to That Pedal Show store to buy merch. Okay, I just spent 2 minutes trying to play a 15-second intro because I cannot keep this guitar in tune or play it in tune. And I think it's a good way to kick off the show because what are we talking about today?
We're talking about 12-string, the effect of 12-string, and can we do it without needing an actual 12-string? New merch offering will be splinters of that guitar available in the store directly after we film this show.
I'd just like to make it clear, there is nothing wrong with this guitar whatsoever. The problem is, in order to play the 12-string guitar, Dan just made a very good point off camera, it's got to be your thing.
Definitely.
You have to spend a lot of time with it to figure out this weird relationship of octave strings and all the rest of it.
And the tuning and the pairs of strings together. If you a great guitar player, you can't just assume you're going to be able to pick up a 12-string and go for it because that's a different world.
It's a totally different world. And that's the thing, isn't it? You've heard it on so many records. In the 60s, it was everywhere, but throughout the decades, it's been everywhere. It's an unmistakable sound. It is a beautiful sound done by somebody who knows what they're doing. Please watch the video we did with Dave Gregory many years ago. So we'll start with, let's start with the basics.
Yep.
We've got two very similar guitars.
Yep.
The way that many 12 strings are set up, just let's cover this off briefly. You've got your normal 6 strings, and as you can see on the headstock here, I've put orange tape on the normal 6 strings.
That's very good.
Because in a hurry, I just don't know which one I'm twiddling.
Yeah, it's just it's a land of confusion.
Right, so the E string, you should be able to hear that through these mics. And it's got an octave. I'll just turn that up so you can hear it. What's interesting about that?
So E, A, D, and G strings all have octaves, but the B and the E strings are simply doubled. So it's the same string, same register, just 2 of them.
Twice. And you'll read all kinds of comments saying what you should do is detune one of the strings so you get a natural chorusing effect.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's hear a 12 string next to a regular guitar then, Dan.
Okay.
We'll do this quickly.
It's the best sounding modulation. Like because the courses are so close, there's definitely flanginess in there, but every course is different. And so it's such a great sound.
And forgive my ham-fisted playing, it is quite tough. One of the things on a 12-string guitar is the relationship of the nut width to the string spacing. Obviously, if the nut starts to get really, really wide, it becomes very difficult to play. But if it's narrow and the strings are very narrowly spaced, you just need to take a minute to get your sausages pushing down the right wires, which is quite the challenge. We'll swap in a minute and you can see that hopefully Dan's just as bad at it as I am. Okay, so we know that then. And the problem then comes with maybe in the particular place that you play or in your life, you only need that sound for one song.
That's right.
Or two songs. Are you going to cart this around for one song, maybe? And are you going to literally put your head in your hands every time you can't get it in tune? Or every time the intonation slightly offends your ear, to quote Frank Zappa?
Right.
And that's the problem I have with it. It might sound fine when you stick loads of chorus on it, but I struggle so hard, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you've got to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, players like Dave Gregory, REM, Mr. Buck,
Peter Buck.
you know, those guys have made it a massive part of what they do.
I mean, we've got about however many minutes in and we haven't mentioned the Byrds once.
There you go.
So Roger McGuinn, obviously. But anyway, but it's way wider than that. It's way wider than that. You hear it in all kinds of Americana. You hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
Without further ado then, so your next option, if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to take an actual guitar, you can buy one of the many 12-string simulation pedals on the market. How do they work?
So I'm not exactly sure how the Mosaic works, but it's basically similar to the POG in where it gives you an octave higher. So it's polyphonic.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the old days of analog octaves and stuff, you can't play chords with those things.
It'll only process one note at a time.
Exactly. The new generation of these things, you can play chords with, and it'll give you an octave higher.
Yeah.
So if we played the Mosaic on,
and some other stuff too, though, right? Because surely it's got some intelligence in it to sense that it shouldn't just octave everything.
You tell me.
Okay, we'll have a listen to it. We've chosen the Mosaic because I did a Google search, best 12-string simulator. By far, the Mosaic came up top.
Yeah.
So we bought it. Just went online and bought it. We know there's a new Keeley one, the Beach Boys related one, and we know there's plenty of others, but this is a good example of the breed.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to play a G major scale, Dan.
Okay.
Starting on the 3rd fret. Okay, let's see. Once more.
So immediately you hear it is putting the octaves on the top strings.
Right.
Right, so...
Okay, let's just hear that then. So do me some top string action.
Yeah, it's done the polyphonic thing. So that's the challenge, because how does it know when I'm playing these two strings?
Yeah. It's not. I thought the bass strings were pretty good.
The bass strings are okay. It's got a tone control on there, which is nice because you can make it a little bit less obvious.
Play. What's that called?
It's an E minor 7. It's great. It's just it sounds like a POG.
We're going to play the Crossroads theme tune challenge, okay? Dan won't know what Crossroads is. For any of you of a certain vintage in the UK, Crossroads was a a drama, stroke soap opera, set in a Birmingham hotel.
Okay, great.
And the theme tune went something like this. Okay, it's like literally, I'll share to play it. So if you've turned off because of both mine and Dan's very average playing today, it sounds like a steel drum.
Sounds like a steel drum.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Roll the tone off and play some steel drum sounds. So are we saying it's a better steel drum impersonator than a 12-string guitar?
Arguably.
I think it's all right. Let's do one final test before we move on to Dan's crazy invention. I just want to strum some chords.
Yeah,
let's
sure.
add some chorus.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing you'll associate with 12-string guitar sound quite often is chorus. We've got the echo fix running in the back there. I'll just turn it on. Dan will play. We'll do this in bits.
Yeah.
He can play clean. I'll add the chorus, then we'll add the mosaic.
Okay. I mean, so I don't want to offend anyone that has a 12-string simulator and uses it, because I think in a band mix, choose your notes carefully, don't have that tone up too high. You just got to play a couple of... Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
The problem comes when you go up onto these strings.
Exactly. So this is... When I first thought about this, I was like, okay, how do we do this in a way with a 6-string electric guitar that can actually make it work?
Right.
All right, here we go. Back in the room.
Dan
Right.
has requested that I close my eyes so that I can't see the surprise that's coming.
So,
Can I open my eyes?
you may open your eyes and have a look. Check that out. Right. So, this is I had a submarine pickup, and this is a new version. It's a pickup that has 6 different pickups in it, basically. Hexaphonic that you can send to left or right.
Right. So the original submarine that you might know just covered 2 strings?
2 strings. Had a switch on it to do 1 string or 2 strings.
Yeah.
Right? But this covers 6 strings.
So,
now, the reason that I've put this on there is that after much consternation, you can't do it unless you can separate the strings, right? And
because
the processor doesn't know if I'm playing these 4 or these 2.
and it can't work it out harmonically, because if you play E here, that's got to be unison.
That's right.
But if you play E here, it needs to be
an octave up.
So the technology might exist for digital processing to recognize that.
Yeah.
But as it is, it's the same note, but one needs to be unison and one needs to be octave separated.
Exactly.
So you have to split the strings.
Exactly. So at the moment, I've got 3 outputs from this guitar. I've got the normal output, all right, which is... So we can hear all the strings, okay? That's just the normal pickups. But now what happens if I then go to the hexaphonic, I can split and send. I'm going to send these top 4 into an octave, and these bottom 2 I'm going to go into like a doubly chorusy thing, right? So
just to make that clear, I'll do a detail. On the pickup itself, there's a little slidey switch. You can have the string off.
That's right.
You can have it going to tip, or you can have it going to ring, which means you can split. Exactly.
So if we just have a look at the bass strings here. So nothing from the top string, nothing from the B string, but hey, G, D, A, and E.
I can hear the top strings.
You can, yeah, they're not, I mean, it's not perfect, but there's a big difference between that and that.
Oh, you're hitting it at the same
exactly.
velocity.
Exactly. Yeah, so.
Okay.
So.
I was just smelling a rat.
Can't have that.
Cheating.
Right, so if I turn on the POG, which is only going to the bottom 4 strings, right? No, no, yes, 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 and yes.
I just can't. I thought you were just going. I thought you weren't doing it properly.
No.
I just got to check.
Okay.
He's a terrible liar.
Okay, so let me turn the POG off. If I turn the POG on, it's still a bit steel drum for me, so I'm just going to turn the octave down a little.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Because the worst of... Anyway, carry on, sorry.
Right. So now, when I... I'm going to go over to the B side, and I've got nothing, 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 nothing. Oh, hello. It's even better if I turn it on. I'm just using the Beano as an input. There's no power to it. It's just an input, so I can just plug in to the vibrato. So what's happening is the B and the E string are going into the vibrato, and then out of the vibrato into the wetter box. So the 2 outputs for the POG and the vibrato are mixing in the wetter box.
Diagram.
All right, diagram. But there you go. That's those 2. If I add a little bit of vibrato chorus. Now, if I blend in easy, what I'll do is I'll start on the bottom 4. Blend in the top.
I know, I'm just trying to...
Warm up the top a little bit more.
So if I now turn these two off,
Yep.
that one on and that one on.
Just going to EQ that a little bit.
I just can't play it.
They're a nightmare.
It's anyway. Okay, pretty good.
It's not bad.
So more hassle. That
Much more hassle.
or this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing with this is,
You could put it on your favourite guitar.
yeah, and you know, but that idea of being able to separate the strings and send them to different things,
Yeah.
that's quite cool.
And presumably that's where you get into Roland GR land with the hexaphonic MIDI pickups, so that you can have each of those.
You could do with this one; it only goes to tip or ring.
Yeah, but I meant moving on from that.
Exactly.
In a digital environment where you're using a hexaphonic MIDI type pickup
That's right.
to drive six.
Separate things.
Do you remember Gibson years ago were all about their new Magic protocol?
Yes.
And they thought that was a really good way forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, I would say nothing beats the sound of an actual...
Of course not.
It's a bit like a Leslie in a Leslie simulator.
Yeah.
Nothing is actually like it.
No. And it's interesting, actually, when you're playing open chords, the Mosaic doesn't sound bad.
It actually sounds pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think if you turn that tone down so that you don't get that...
Yeah. It's a much better way of doing it than all this marquee. But I'm really pleased with how, you know, when you get them separated, you
Yeah.
hear the octave on these and just the chorus on those two. That was really cool.
It worked well. It worked well. Okay, so what do you vote for then? Actual 12-string guitar, can you be bothered? Something as simple as the Mosaic, which you can just add to your regular 6-string, or are you going to go with Dan's with the Dan Sanity?
Dan Sanity, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that was interesting. I don't know whether it's worth getting this nut recut to see if they could even go if the strings could go a bit closer together.
Right.
Because a bit like the Rickenbacker, I just can't get my fingers in there.
Yeah.
Because it is a cool sound.
It's such a great sound. It's that physical process that you just can't replicate.
And analog Marcus.
I like it. I like it very much.
Okay, right. Please subscribe. We hope you found that useful. Please go to that Pedal Show store. And thank you to everyone on Patreon. Our patrons.
Yes, indeed.
On Patreon. That's how we do this. Patreon is great. That Pedal Show store provides the bulk of our income. So if you want to buy something, that is a way to support the show. We don't accept any money to do any videos. As you see, we even bought this flaming Mosaic.
We did.
Maybe we'll give it away in a patron giveaway. How about that?
Love that.
Yeah,
love
good.
that.
All right.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.